All right, my friends, welcome to another module. We're in a completely different module now, and we're going to be talking about content creation. But to give a bit of context to everything you just read above, this is what you come to realize, right? I feel like a lot of people worry about talking about anything unrelated to either their domain of mastery or their main interest, and that is not what's going to set you apart, right? You have to realize that marketing, branding, and content creation are not only they're interconnected, but they're also separate, right? So as we talked about in the last module, the main thing that will determine your sales of a potential future product are the assets that you have in place to build authority. So whether that be like foundational blog articles or newsletters that educate people on that specific thing, because there's only so much you can write about that, right? And having a lead magnet that will lead into an offer or something of that nature, or a beginner level thread or something like that. There's only so many of the principles that you can go over, right? But what makes people want to buy from you over someone else? Yes, the marketing and getting that right is a big part of the equation. It's really helpful, and it helps you show what your product can do for that person. But how are you going to attract people and differentiate yourself from others? And the experience model that I'm painting a picture here is the way to do that. It's by being you online in a structured way that helps you grow on the actual social media platform. But there's ways to go about this, right? So the first thing that I want you to do is to start thinking of everything as content, every single thing, everything in here, everything as you go about life. Try to pull out some lesson, right? This will be hard at first. It's okay, because we're trying to do things that other people aren't doing here, right? I'm not here to give you a generic Twitter course on how to grow. I'm here to give you every single thing that I know about audience building and content creation, and how I have people tell me this. Like, I'm not trying to boast about it. I have people replying to my emails telling me this is like the best thing I've ever read. They see my brand and it means something to them. There's depth behind it. So that's what I'm trying to show you here, right? And the way to do this mainly, that's very helpful, is not only refining all of these, but we're going to go over the reflection side of things, right? So let's look at a weekly reflection as an example. So you go here by clicking new and then weekly reflection, right? And through this, you can set these reminders. I have mine set to Sundays. So you can come in here and just click like Sunday or Sunday, right? It may or may not remind you, but you can set a reminder on your own as well, because Notion's weird. But then you come in here and it's super simple, right? So set a reminder again to go through your weekly reflection. Go through the queue and categorize things accordingly. So all of the tweets or ideas or just to-dos that you've stacked up throughout the week in the queue and just haven't gotten around to fleshing out, which we'll talk about in the next module on like developing all of this. I said this is 3 years worth of kind of iteration in creating this entire process. So it's going to take more than a few modules to understand it all and talk about it all. But you can go through the queue and categorize accordingly. You can revise and review your vision, goals, and philosophies, because that will give you a lot of good original content, right? It's unique to you. All of this is unique to you. And you getting this across is what's going to attract like-minded people. So review the progress that you're making on projects. You can talk about that progress online if you understand how to format that message in an engaging way. And then you can go through this, right? And so you can talk about, how did my previous week go? Spend 15 minutes doing this. Just sit here. How did it go? What didn't work? What roadblocks did you have? How can you improve? And now you could turn these into a tweet where it's like, I did this and like I changed it to this. I was struggling with this, turned it to this. And now what goals am I focusing on this week? So you can create a tweet out of all of these, right? I've seen Dickie Bush, for example, just go over what he does for Sunday reflection. And there's an example of Dickie Bush's tweet under this video, a bit down, that shows you what I'm talking about here. What experiments are you running? So what are you experimenting with? What are you learning about? What are you doing? Are you new to the gym? Have you seen any gains in the gym? Have you switched around your diet? Why have you switched around your diet? What's the benefit of that? And how can other people benefit? Are you feeling better? Are you feeling more energetic? Can you spark a discussion on nutrition? What habits am I focusing on this week? So you can go through this, but I also want to show you what reflection has done for me, right? Reflection is a very big part of this, and it's how you create advice for those that are under you. So one example is something like this, right? So that yours doesn't have to be this long, but there are things that I do throughout my day that could help other people improve their life. And I have a reason behind all of these. I'm living with intention, right? And I want to develop and improve myself. And this is how I'm helping other people do it. Now, this is an awkward way of thinking about it, but these are all unique to me because I'm not just following someone else, right? I can give you a step-by-step thing, but then you can't go and turn around and use that and like post exactly what it is because you didn't come up with it. You didn't test it. You don't have experience with it, right? Once you have experience with things, then hence the experience model. Once you have experience with things, you can start giving out the information to others. So how to feel good. This is what I do to feel good. I go on a morning walk. I have coffee with L-theanine, do focus work. I have good food, and then I go over these, and that will spark discussion. Intense gym sessions, 30 minutes of sun, another walk, read, socialize, quality sleep. So these like daily routine type deals always do well. Whenever I need engagement or just want to grow in followers, I talk about my daily routine. And if people ask, I have a reason why I do these things, right? I talk about walks all the time because they're a pillar in my life, right? They are a part of my not only like recurring tasks, but they're just what I do throughout the day in order to feel good. There's a benefit behind doing them. Why would I not share it with others? Anyone can benefit from that. And that's just how it works, right? So here's one example. Another example, because I wanted to start making the sardines a thing. If you start talking about things over and over again, people will start to associate it with you. And once they try it and see results, they'll be like, oh, this guy turned me on to it, right? And you're like, oh, well, I'm not attracting the audience that I want at that point. This is why it's important to eventually, like if you're overwhelmed with this, don't do it yet. But once you have the time, you create the foundational newsletters or threads or articles that educate people on your interests, and you put out a lead magnet or another product or service that shows what you do as an authority and how it benefits the people that do follow you, that have the same mind as you when it comes to improvement. And if they have an interest in this, then they may have an interest in your authority. How do I know that? Because you are interested in this and you are interested in your authority. So why can't another person be, right? Your job is to create that interest and that authority. So the next thing, another reason, all of this is like health related because I was like big into health. That was a big pillar or interest of mine at the time. And I don't even talk about it now. So that goes to show that you can change these around at any point based on your curiosity and what you're interested in. And it doesn't really matter. If I want to go back to talking about health, I know how to because I have experience there and know how it can benefit people that are attracted to my ideals, my values, my vision, my goals, etc., etc. Health is how I get to those things. Partially, there's many different things. But this is just an example of like taking even the weirdest experiences and turning it into a high engaging tweet, right? So I said this on Instagram. So I eat 200 plus grams of protein. Fuck yeah, bro, make those gains. Instagram, 200 grams, you're going to get kidney stones, you're in liver damage. And this is a true thing. And I'm exaggerating here because I just thought it was funny. Like I'm so used to Twitter and everyone kind of getting what I'm putting down. But then when I take it and put it on Instagram, everyone freaks out. And so I just thought it was funny because it's also like, we're on Twitter here, so it's confirmation bias where it's like, oh yeah, I'm with the smart crowd. I don't resonate with those Instagram people. We're all on Twitter. I'm gonna like this. So it's just another example of how like reflection or just turning everyday experiences into content works, right? And it starts to develop your own unique voice and your own unique audience and the way you say things. So shameless plug. This is what I look like right now. But I know that a lot of people, and myself included, this is reflection. This is reflection where I've lost the desire to become absolutely massive. And I know people want to become absolutely massive, like bodybuilders, because that's like a big thing for kids. That's what I grew up with, and I was immersed in that community as a kid, and I know a lot about that community. And so I thought I'd take like a different stance, because I don't really care about becoming absolutely massive. And so constant cutting and bulking, blah, 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 it's got a good amount of likes, 496. But at the same time, I'm not trying to get likes here. I'm just trying to build my community. Growth content and growth threads, the ones that are pretty much guaranteed to get you growth, have their place. But so does kind of building that community and showing a bit of yourself. That's authenticity, right? And so another thing, this came from a reflection, but rather than talking about myself, I'm spinning it as advice, right? So I like had this routine throughout my days at this point in time where I would use my brain in the morning for creation, output, and focus. I would empty my brain before bed with journaling, planning, and meditation. I would fill my brain in the afternoons with books, learning, and socialization. And the way you start to create these things on your own is through the long form content and just continuously writing and developing yourself and reflecting on what has actually brought you progress and why you are doing the things that you are doing, right? Why you do the things you do. When you're living with intention and you have a why behind your actions, what is that why, right? And like, I'm not even saying the why here, but it just makes sense. So that's the main thing, is why are you doing what you're doing? Why are you posting on Twitter? Why do you have sardines for lunch? The reason I do is because I read that they're packed with nutrients and they're omega-3s, they help with suntan and stuff like that. So it's like that's became a part of my thing. And even when I started talking about beef liver a lot, everyone started talking about beef liver. It was really weird to see how much influence I actually had on those things. So I just wanted to bring this to your attention because this is something that comes with time. It comes with time and self-development, as we've been talking about a lot in this experience model. So that's the main thing. You have to develop yourself. You have to develop your mind. And with your mind, in the next module, we're going over the epistemic method, which is pretty much like my guided way of expanding your mind and your knowledge. So for now, hang tight, learn about content creation for the rest of this section or this module, and we'll have some fun.